So recently I did a video of my most recent favorite vanilla fragrances, and I featured PENHALIGON'S Babylon in that video. I can't get enough of how great this vanilla fragrance smells. It's a combination of lots of vanilla, very, very syrupy, gooey vanilla with saffron and some woodsy notes as well. And that's pretty much all you get with this one, with some other light hints of other notes. But I'm really enjoying this particular vanilla, and it's a kind of a change of pace from the house of PENHALIGON'S. But you know what? When I first smelled it, it reminded me of another fragrance from PENHALIGON'S. And when I, smell them side by side, they're very different when they're kind of similar as well. Anyway, today I'm going to do a full review of PENHALIGON'S Babylon and also compare it to the fragrance that kind of reminds me of Cairo. Both of these are from the Trade Routes collection of fragrances from PENHALIGON'S, and I'm going to let you know all about Babylon and how it compares to Cairo from PENHALIGON'S. So if you want to find out about these two fragrances, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. I want to ask you, who's a fan of PENHALIGON'S fragrances? Are you a fan? Do you own any fragrances? And if so, what are your favorite PENHALIGON'S fragrances? Now, this Babylon seems to be a recent favorite of mine. PENHALIGON'S was one of my first, one of my very first niche houses that I discovered way early on, before I even started doing any kind of videos. In the latter part of the 90s, I discovered PENHALIGON'S being sold here in San Francisco at Saks Fifth Avenue. And I bought several fragrances then, and I've been a fan since then. I wouldn't call it my first niche house. I believe I discovered Annick Goutal prior to PENHALIGON'S, but I've known about this house since then, and I do enjoy a lot of their fragrances. And this Babylon is one of the latest and greatest from PENHALIGON'S. So I'll let you know all about this, and then also how it compares to another Trade Routes collection fragrance, Cairo. But before I do, if this is your first time tuning into the channel and you still haven't subscribed, please do click the subscribe button below, and also click the bell so that you'll be notified for future videos and giveaways. So yeah, let me know if you're a fan of the PENHALIGON'S fragrances. They have a lot of different fragrances, different collections. Of course, the Portraits collection is definitely the ones with the little animal head figurines that are on top of the bottles. So those are really great collectible fragrances. But this is from the Trade Routes collection. It's a 2021 launch. The fragrance sells for 100 ml, $258, and it is an Eau De Parfum concentration. Sadly, I couldn't find out the perfumer behind this fragrance, so I'd love to know, because he's created a great, or he or she has created a great vanilla fragrance here. And even though we're not breaking any new ground here with this fragrance, I've smelled things like this, but I really love the way it smells. And I'm a vanilla fan, you guys know this, and this is definitely a solid vanilla fragrance. So for notes here, what we've got on PENHALIGON'S website, all it says it's vanilla, cedar, and saffron. But when you look up into databases, it says on top notes we've got saffron, nutmeg, and coriander. For heart notes we have Cypriol, and then in base notes we have sandalwood, cedar, vanilla. And it totally makes sense, because I do get some spices in this particular vanilla. And of course, saffron is a spice, very aromatic and slightly leathery, and it does start off with the spices up top. You're experiencing the saffron. I think the saffron really meshes beautifully with the vanilla. It adds a nice contrast, a kind of a soft, spicy, leathery, and it's not overly leathery, just a very minute amounts of light leathery touches that you have contrasted against the vanilla when the vanilla finally appears, because the vanilla does appear really fast, but the coriander and nutmeg come in as well, and it creates a very warm, spicy ambiance here when you first spray it. The vanilla is just trying to creep in, and that's pretty much the main star of this fragrance. It's all about the vanilla, but along the way you're also experiencing the Cypriol note here in the heart notes. It's kind of a woody, earthy, slightly patchouli-esque, but not quite kind of a note. It's a very distinct note. For me, it kind of smells like wood barrels with you know, like aging in with like some kind of a liqueur. That's the smell I get from a Cypriol note, and it's definitely prominent here. So for me, the Cypriol note does have a woody aromatic experience, sort of green and lightly boozy, as I said, like where you age booze in a barrel kind of a thing. But in the end, it's becoming more vanilla here. The vanilla is like really taking over, and the vanilla here, as I said, it's kind of like goopy, gooey, kind of very almost oily. It's syrupy, like very like flowy and thick, kind of a vanillic experience here, which really is great because you also have some sandalwood and of course cedar as well. Sandalwood is a creamy experience here, mixed in with this kind of like very lightly oily, creamy, gooey vanilla. That's what you're experiencing here, that kind of a vanillic fragrance, and very delicious. So in the end, we're left with a very woody and very vanillic, sweet vanillic, you know, ambery experience with the fragrance. And it's quite a delicious experience. Of course, it's warm touches, lots of warm touches, and of course, spicy touches as well. And that's pretty much it. It's kind of simplistic, but not yet. It's also kind of complex, but also very delicious. It smells really great. And I think this is perfect for once summer is over and we're going to experience the cooler weather. This is going to be a great fragrance, smelling great, because it's a very cozy, very gooey. You know, like the gooiness is really there. It's a thick vanilla, so just be warned, it doesn't wear thin at all. And this is probably definitely not the kind of fragrance you would put on and go outside in 100 degrees heat kind of a thing. But like I said, come fall and winter, this is really going to wear deliciously. It's a really delicious fragrance, and I love that saffron contrast. Saffron against this really gooey vanilla, match made in heaven, I think. Perfect fragrance. You know, I really did like Cairo, but I love Babylon even more. It's so delicious. Just smelling it, it's just like, wow, this is yummy. You know, it's just a really yummy concoction. But let me tell you a little bit about Cairo, because when I receive fragrances and I smell them, they always remind me of other fragrances, and it does remind me of Cairo. But when I'm smelling them side by side, they're so different, completely different fragrances, even though both feature vanilla. Cairo has notes of vanilla, saffron, rose, labdanum, and patchouli. So this particular fragrance to me is more of an ambery experience with rose and patchouli. And even though we have that Cypriol note here, I don't get a patchouli-esque experience because Cypriol and patchouli do not smell similar. They have similarities to me. It's woody, earthy, slightly green, and as I said, Cypriol kind of goes in the direction of smelling like barrels, woody barrels, slightly aged with kind of a boozy kind of thing. That's what I get with the Cypriol note. Here it is patchouli and it is labdanum, and there's also lots of rose here. So in the end, they don't smell alike whatsoever, but we are still dealing with vanilla. They're both vanillic experiences. And you know, when you smell them side by side, you'll be like, this one's my favorite. I don't think I care for Babylon, or vice versa. You'll be like, okay, Babylon's my favorite. I don't really care for the rose and Cairo or kind of a thing. Both of them are great, really great fragrances. In fact, I first discovered this at Harrods upstairs in the salon. It was an exclusive fragrance up there when I was visiting London. Then it became available in 2019. I think towards the middle of 2019 it became available everywhere. But it was a great favorite fragrance. But this Babylon, man, it is so delicious. Just wait till fall and winter and wear it then. I think it's going to be perfect. And it also has kind of like a holiday-ish vibe a little bit because of those spices up top. It just kind of wears like a little bit of a holiday-ish vanilla experience. So yummy. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Babylon. It is a very thick vanillic experience. If you like the idea of vanilla, if you love vanillic fragrances, you definitely need to check this one out. I love its contrast with the spices, and you know, like I'm gonna say it once again. If come fall and winter, this will be perfect. You should also go catch my latest video on vanilla fragrances, where I did feature this one as a recent favorite of mine. You can discover a little more about this, plus some of my other favorite vanilla fragrances. But let me know, guys, have you tried Babylon from Penhaligon's? Have you smelled it yet? If you do love vanilla, please get a sample if you can, or go to a boutique that sells it, smell it there. I think you're definitely in for a really beautiful vanillic sweet treat. I kid you not, because it is one of my favorite vanilla fragrances as of late, and I've been wearing it. As you can see, I'm enjoying it here. We don't get too many heat waves here this early on in summer here in San Francisco, so it's still pretty cool. Come August, though, it's going to cook here probably, but I have really been wearing this one and enjoying its beautiful vanillic touches. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching today's review for Penhaligon's latest Trade Routes Collection fragrance, Babylon. Let me know if you've sampled this. Let me know if you've sampled Cairo. Let me know if you've compared the two together. I'd like to find out, and also let me know if you have a favorite Penhaligon's fragrance. I'd like to find out what your favorites are. Either way, I appreciate you tuning in. If you have any questions or comments, please do list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.